der ersten Session des European Darts Matchplay. Er kommt aus den Niederlanden, ist 44 Jahre alt, seit 2 Jahren bei der PDC mit dabei. Die aktuelle Nummer 136 der Welt, the Dutch Robbe, Mario Robbe. Zweiter deutscher Starter hier von Hamburg an diesem Wochenende. 21 Jahre ist der Junge, er kommt aus Strausberg, hat zuletzt für Deutschland beim World Cup of Darts das Viertelfinale erreicht. Er ist die Nummer 2 in Darts Deutschland. Herzlich willkommen hier in Hamburg, The Wall, Martin Schindler!
It has been an afternoon of firsts here at the European Darts Matchplay. A first win on the Euro Tour for a couple of years for Mike Langendorf. First wins ever on the European Tour for Boris Koltsov, Jason Lowe, Paul Rowley. And a first leg on the European Tour for Martin Atkins. Well, Mario Robbe is looking for 2 of those. A first win and a first leg on the European Tour, having lost out to Rob Cross 6-0 in Gibraltar last year. He's back on the Euro Tour stage, taking on a man who's becoming a regular in European Tour darts. Well, he was a regular before, but when he was working as a steward, now he's chucking the darts on the stage and mixing it in the big time. Martin Schindler, a man who's picked up a couple of titles this year on the development tour. Those 2 came on the same day. He looks to join Mike Langendorf in becoming a home nation qualifier and moving through to the second day of action here in Hamburg. I'm Chris Murphy, and Dan Dawson, who I'm sure has got a thirst for the action here in Hamburg.
Always thirsty for Euro Tour action, Murph. You know that. Martin Schindler, who has impressed me so much in the way he has progressed over the last few years. He's a guy who won his tour card on the same day as Paul Nicholson. I was watching him that day. He played some fantastic stuff. But his ability to score has come on leaps and bounds over the last few months. And part of it has been the switch to these new darts, these new Simon Whitlock darts. Mario Robbe's using Raymond van Barneveld darts there, I think. But when you look at his performances on the Pro Tour this year, Martin Schindler, he's averaging almost 94 over the Players' Championship Series. That puts him 22nd. That's a top 32 and well inside the top 32 in terms of the averages. When you look at the number 180s, he's hit 70. But how frequently he's hitting them, this is the real thing, 15th. Told ya.
How frequently?
He is hitting them with 5.6% of his visits. Now, this is all stuff you can find in the Dart Connect system. And I know that doesn't, you may not think it sounds like a big number. Let me put it in context in a moment. I'm not going to take out the 141. Robbie will look at the 96.
45. Mario Uruguay 96.
Treble 20 then, the first target. Gets that for double 18. Now double 9.
78.
Same equation for Schindler. got to be double-double here, hasn't it? Oh, he's moving, suggests it's not going to be. I think the double-double shot there is the sensible one.
Well, perhaps Martin has learnt that he's become so accomplished at hitting treble 20s that he fancies himself with a couple of darts. He's managed to move across and put it in the same hole there somehow, Robert.
He's shown the first leg.
He's somehow managed to squeeze it into the left of those two and edged in front in this tie.
Oh, I like that shot. I think he's executed that to perfection, Robbie. But Martin Schindler, so just to pick up on that, 5.6% of his visits he hits 180s on the Players' Championship Series. That is the same proportion as the world number 2 Peter Wright.
100.
It is more than the best player in the world, Michael van Gerwen. More than Michael Smith. More than Chris Dobie, Steve Lennon, who we know hits a lot of 180s. This is esteemed company that Martin Schindler is keeping right now. And it's just an indication of the progress he's making. And recently we had a development tour weekend where he won the first 2 events, both events on the day. And then had a quarter-final and the last 32 on the following day. So he walked away that weekend with almost $4.5 grand from the Kiddies Tour.
We'll speak to Paul Nicholson about this during this tournament, but I asked Simon Whitlock about Martin Schindler's darts, and he claims that they're not his darts, that they're more like Benito van der Passe's old darts.
Oh.
And it's an interesting change, that, because Schindler used to use these little needle points that are supposedly designed to eliminate bounce outs. Now, when Benito was throwing darts like that, he was getting more bounce outs than anyone, even more than James Wilson.
Yeah.
Sort of changed that, but he doesn't seem to have that problem. So the question I would be asking to our expert analysts, the assets, is about getting the right darts for your action. I mean, if you chuck darts with blunt ends, then they're probably going to bounce out, aren't they? But there must be certain darts that suit certain actions, and Schindler seems to have found a set that suits his. Suits you, sir. Martin Schindler takes out 70 to level up.
It's an interesting decision from Schindler as well. He's usually a double top man, but elects to go for the double 16. Robbe has one of those actions, one of those kind of weird ones, where he brings the dart back to pretty much the centre of his forehead. Schindler's not dissimilar, although you can see it's in line with the eye, just above the eye.
When he gets to the twilight of his career, Martin Schindler have a V shape in his eyebrow, won't he, from where the flight's been resting.
100.
It's a Butte. Surely.
Oh. 140.
That's a call in installments.
Well, he styled it out there, old Hinks, didn't he?
81.
The winner of this, incidentally, will take on Joe Cullen, and Martin Schindler and Joe Cullen had a bit of a ding-dong on the Euro Tour stage, where Joe Cullen decided to take on not only Martin Schindler, but around 2,500 fans as well.
Yeah, it was at the Glass Palast in Sindelfingen, and it was magnificent entertainment. This could be magnificent. Double 5 for the wall.
125. Money only required 95.
95 for the Dutch robots. 92 for the Dutch robots. He's certainly not a robot.
Does not compute.
Malfunction from Mario.
21. Martin, you require 5.
Now Schindler looking at 5 in bits.
There we go.
Martin Schindler. For when he's Martin to move first, he won.
And that's a break.
A break on double two will do for Martin Schindler.
83.
Always get great support, the German players, when we're playing here in Germany. You can imagine what it's going to be like tomorrow if Schindler makes it through and takes on Joe Cullen, because that was absorbing watching Joe Cullen
43.
and Martin Schindler both go at it. Big averages right the way through, fantastic scoring. The crowd really got into it. Joe Cullen was just trying to keep his emotions in check until the end,
100.
when he basically announced to the hall, "I've just knocked out the last remaining German," and stormed off.
Yeah, and if
Now, there was another German left in the tournament, but you forgot about that.
If that happens here this weekend, I'm sure that Joe will probably throw in the football as well.
Yeah, I think he probably will.
And then we might be off air shortly after.
94.
Martin Schindler, of course, is part of the German team at the World Cup, played with Max Hopp, knocked out by the Dutch in the quarterfinals again, having beaten the Northern Irish again.
55.
Martin Schindler last year went 2-0 up on MVG in the singles game and very nearly made it 3-0 before losing 4-2. This year he averaged 110 against him and lost 4-1.
100.
But let it not be said that Martin Schindler did not have Michael van Gerwen seriously concerned in those games, because he did.
85. Martin Schindler, 124.
I won't be messing about going for the bullseye at the end of this combination. Instead, just sets it up.
92.
And again, he's chosen to leave double 16. It's an interesting choice, because Schindler, double top, double 10, usually been his forte when it comes to finishing.
Martin Schindler, 32.
Evidently, there's been a change of plan.
Being shown with foreplay, Martin Schindler.
Well, percentage-wise,
he won.
double 16 is the correct leave, isn't it? Because it splits down more than any other double. The fact that the standard is so high
99.
these days is he's not really going to get that many darts at double very often. But I guess leaving that, especially having missed double 5 earlier on in the match, maybe that was a factor in his change of mind, or we don't know whether he had it from the start of the game, whether it's something that he'll stick with.
And sometimes you do wonder with certain players whether they've become over-reliant on a certain double. Like, they may be one of the best hitters of double top in the game. Let's say Gerwin Price, for example, who leaves double top more than any other player in the top 20. Going on some stats that were put together. Now, he now goes, because he is so desperate to leave double top, he sometimes goes silly routes where other players would go different ways. So, for example, 76, he'll try and go double 18 double top, and if not, just hit another single 18 to leave double top, rather than having to go at treble 20, something he hits a lot, to get 2 darts at double 8, because he feels more confident with 2 darts at top, or 1 dart at top, sorry. 118 number 2. That's just wrong-headed thinking.
Yeah, well, 3 darts in treble 20. Giving Martin Schindler another huge lead in another leg, so one where he doesn't have to worry about aiming at the bull.
33.
There's been one meeting between this pair before today, and it was won by Robbe. A qualifying match for the Austrian Darts Open. He didn't go on to qualify, lost out to Ron Muhlenkamp
60.
after
Martin Schindler, 88.
knocking out the wall. Well, he leaves what he wants and he hits what he wants.
Seems like he's fighting to do first. He won.
Just being allowed to go about his business here, Martin Schindler, because Mario is not super this afternoon.
eating a mushroom or whatever Super Mario does there, Dan. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
140.
Schindler's down to a finish first again and again.
85.
He's going to have plenty of time to clear it up. There's one more match to come in this afternoon session. Robert Marjanovic looking
81.
to follow Mike Langendorf and probably Martin Schindler in home nation qualifiers reaching the second day. 3 more of them tonight. René Eidams, Dragutin Horvat and Max Hopp all in action this evening.
And I tell you what, there is a realistic chance of all 6 Germans making it through this opening day, which we have never seen before. Because Martin Schindler, I think, is nailed on for a spot in round 2 to face Joe Cullen here. We've already seen the victory earlier on for Mike Langendorf, which I thought was perhaps one of the least likely victories for the German players, because Michael Barnard had been playing so well. Marjanovic, it's a very tough one against Jermaine Watermaner, who is in form, but Marjanovic beat Peter Wright and Chris Dobie and a bunch of players midweek in Barnsley. René Eidams, we know he's a dangerous player, but Robert Thornton, he's really been struggling for form. It's been very up and down with the Thorn of late. Dragutin Horvat, former quarter-finalist on the Euro Tour against Jelle Klaassen, again a man who's been struggling for form.
And under pressure.
Yeah. And then that final one, Dirk van Dijvenbode, who's had an awful year. However, just lately he's been playing some good stuff this last couple of weeks. But he's taken on the German #1, Max Hopp. You could see all 6 make it through.
85.
Well, we will see. And there we'll see. And they certainly would be happy if it happened. Sporting excellence from Team Germany.
Well, let's be fair, they've not had a great deal of sport to be shouting about of late.
Mind you,
137.
the Dutch, it's nice to just have some sport to watch, isn't it?
Yeah. Bless them.
134.
Very nicely done by Martin Schindler to leave himself a 1 treble finish, and it could well be 6 legs on the spin.
140.
Well, there would be somewhere to finish it off. Mario poised on 38. And he's going to get a chance
98.
to get a second leg on the board. Stepping across.
No score.
And it's the width of the wire away, but in truth, this has been a one-sided contest. Martin Schindler looking at double 4. Caught that, Robbe. Martin Schindler has 6-1 success, stormed through to the second round of the European Darts Match Play. Alongside his fellow countryman Mike Langendorf early on, we've got another German player coming up next, Robert Marjanovic. It's on. Dan says 6 could go through, and they still could. A very impressive display from the wall, Martin Schindler, who's going to have a chat with our MC Elmar before the final match of the afternoon session. Marjanovic against Watermaner coming next.
Wunderbar. Ein glatter Erfolg für The Wall, Martin Schindler über Mario Robbe, und damit steht Martin in Runde 2. Morgen trifft er auf Joe Cullen. Ganz schön was los, Herr Martin, ne? Macht Spaß bei dem Publikum?
Total. Also ich finde es echt klasse, was hier am Freitag schon los ist. Bei anderen European Events ist noch nicht so viel los am Freitag, aber hier ist es echt voll. Ist voll geil. Das macht echt Spaß.
Du bist der geilste Mann. Sie haben es tatsächlich gesagt. Das Match ging so ein bisschen nervös los, aber kam es dann eigentlich ganz gut rein.
Ja, das stimmt. Also die ersten paar Legs war ich wirklich nervös, weil ich einfach nicht wusste, so was mich erwartet. Aber ist wunderbar, wie die Fans einfach sind. Das ist so geil und ich bin wirklich die geilste Sau.
Und morgen weißt du, was dich erwartet? Joe Cullen Nummer 5 der Setzliste ist dein Gegner. Wie schätzt du es ein?
Ich habe auf jeden Fall Chancen. Also ich habe in Sindelfingen schon gegen ihn gespielt, das war ein knappes 6:5. Jetzt ein bisschen mehr Momentum auf meiner Seite und ich kann gewinnen.
Und bei der Unterstützung ist alles möglich. The Wall Martin Schindler, der geilste Mann. Den sehen wir morgen wieder. Morgen also im Match gegen den Rockstar Joe Cullen. Und wenn das so weitergeht, haben wir in wenigen Augenblicken auch noch den dritten Deutschen in der zweiten Runde. Denn Robert Marjanovic, der wartet jetzt auf seine Partie und wird herausgefordert von Jermaine Vatimena. Bis gleich.